Hi everyone. Hopefully you guys are doing well. This is your facilitator of advanced case study, Abdul Basit. I am personally ACA as well as ACCA. I have 5+ years of corporate experience. Along with that, I have done academic ACA and apart from that ACCA as well, and then BSc and BCom as well. So welcome to the another class of advanced case study. That's the last hurdle that you have to clear for your upcoming uh, clarification and getting the title of ACA in your name, right? And then you get eligibility for your membership. So what we did yesterday in our yesterday's class, we covered the first question of November 2023 case study and we solved it, right? It was a lengthy class. We had a session of approx 2 hours in which we completed that case, right? We had a session of 2 hours in which we completed that case. Now, before going on to the second requirement, what I want from you guys, that we should be reading a markers plan as well, right? That how this paper is awarded. Huh? So I have told this in earlier classes. Probably this is the 11th session. What I believe is. So in the earlier classes, I have told you how this paper is marked, but through the markers plan, you would have a better idea that what you should do. You would have a better idea that what you should do to clear your marks, right? Our strategy of executive summary is basically, I would say, commendable, that you have to use your conclusions and the additional point in executive summary. That means you are not going to write executive summary on your own. You're using your conclusions as well as getting some add-ons that you have used in the main body of your answer. You're going to add on some points that you are going to use, and that should be in the main body of your answer. Okay. So let's see what examiner has written about executive summary. So see here that this report covers November 2023 case study. You know that, right? It is issued in the conjunction with two sample answers. So examiner has issued two sample scripts for November 2023, which you can download from your ICAEW's portal, right? The first of these within the top quartile and all scripts. The second failed the exam. So in reviewing these documents, it is important to be aware that it is a rare for a script to be uniformly bad or good. A successful script will often detail coverage of all requirements, but include errors of calculation or logic. So as told you in the last class that you can do the calculation errors, right? You can do, examiner allows you. But if you think that you are not going to do the calculation errors, that's your error, right? You can do that. And therefore, I ask you to avoid wasting time on annexures. And once you have made the appendix or annexure, just directly dive into the write-ups, because one of your boxes through the annexures is hit, it's passed, then move on to other, right? Similarly, an unsuccessful script may contain one or two strong sections or several excellent points, but be let down by poor incomplete text, right? So unsuccessful candidates will find this helpful guidance. So this would be a helpful guidance for all those who have been unsuccessful in any particular attempt, and in fact in November 2020. So attached to this report are appendices and examples. Now, overview of the performance. The pass rate was 80%, right? So see the pass rates of advanced case study. And you guys say that this paper is a difficult one, huh? You guys say me that this paper is a difficult one, which is a pass rate of 80%. This is not even the pass rate of ECCA, guys. What is difficulty here? Just the management is the difficulty. Huh? Just the management is the difficulty. This maintains the overall pass rate profile. The slide fall attributed a combination of factors, number of candidates who did not comment. So that means the ratio has fallen. It was 82.6 and now it's 80%, right? Then we have stronger candidates were able to differentiate their reports, showcase their higher skill used for the 4 hours. This paper is of 4 hours. You must know that, huh? You must know that. We exploited the spreadsheet functionality to good effect, and this is done. The spreadsheet functionality is only being done. The spreadsheet functionality is only being done by practice, right? Cover the calculation aspect swiftly. As ever, the best scripts were methodological, well balanced, relevant, answering each element. and good candidates were able to assimilate the report, the demonstrated business awareness and AI, and effort to assimilate the AI and to ensure that they were suitable, familiar with the exam software. So see, the familiarity with the AI and familiarity with the exam software is a key. Therefore, in our all questions that we have attempted, we have made sure we have practiced it on a practice platform. We have made sure that we have practiced it on a practice platform. Okay. Yeah. So the subject is, there was a case of FDM, right? It was in London. We know the question because we have read that. We have read that case. And we have got some information here. The candidate's role in the final year trainee. We were the trainee, stocker, and materialer. There were the requirements, these three requirements, right? One was the performance, and the other one was the performance. The other one was bowl, which we haven't attempted yet. We have attempted only the first one, and the third one is achieve Briani's result. Now, candidates were required to forecast to the recruit for growth strategy. So there were some strategies to be pursued on. There were some strategies that you should be pursued on. Just a second. Yeah. So now what they have asked that as with the previous case study exams, candidates generally did well on requirement one, less well on requirement two, and worst on requirement three. Guys, this is the exam which you need to pass in every requirement, right? This is the exam which you need to pass in every exam and every particular, I would say, requirement. And if you are not passing every requirement, then you will be considered as fail. So what happens with this? The first question is easy but lengthy. I say it a lot in the classes that first question is very easy but lengthy, right? So what they do is they invest your time in first question. So therefore you have to think in the second question, then you utilize your time, and then only half an hour is left for the question three. And if you have left 30 minutes for the question three, that means you are going to fail this exam. Because in 30 minutes, you have to plan, you have to think, you have to evaluate, then you have to hit all the boxes of question three, which is not possible. Okay? So that means you have to plan it accordingly. This exam needs to be planned accordingly. That you have approx, I would say in 4 hours, what you do 1.5 hour to the first question where you do the reading, you do the planning, you do every bloody thing to get this on the software. Then 1.25, that means 1.25, that means 1 hour and 15 minutes for requirement 2 and for requirement 3. So 1 hour 15 minutes for requirement 2 and 1 hour 15 minutes for requirement 3. Okay. So this C examiner has written that mostly students perform worst in requirement. Mostly students perform. That's why they fail. That's why they fail. And where they lack usually, it's the skill of applying judgment. We have been learning these skills from the classes. We have been learning these skills from the classes. But the thing is that we have to give some other time to the skill as well, some more time, right? So see, in these skills, what they want. I'm just going to cover the requirement one in today's session because we have attempted the requirement one only, right? So I'm just going to cover this and what these skills meanings. Let me just show you first that what these skills are, and then we can think of it. Just a second. See, here are the skills. AUI SPS AJCR, right? For every requirement, there are 29 marks, right? For every requirement, there are 29 marks. And for every requirement, executive summary, there are 13 marks. And this is your 100 marks paper, right? So this is kind of not similar with the papers. This is kind of not similar, this papers that you have already attempted. But the thing is that you have these skills to be mentioned, right? And how these skills are mentioned. So what does AUI mean? What does SPS mean? What does EJ mean? What does CR mean? I've shown you guys in the earlier classes as well. I'll show you again. I'll show you again here. Let's see, these are the boxes. These are the boxes that examiner expects, right? These are the boxes that examiner expects that you're gonna be hitting. Like there's a box of executive summary, right? Then executive summary of the requirement one, you're gonna be making it. Executive summary of requirement two, you're gonna be making it. Executive summary of requirement uh, three should be here as well. So it's executive summary of requirement three, you're gonna be making it up. Executive summary of requirement two, executive summary of requirement three. So this is the boxes. These are the boxes of executive summary. Now see what they expect from you in executive summary, because you have made one yesterday. So what they expect you, that you're gonna be making a comment on overall revenue. So can you guys recall that we can make a comment on executive summaries revenue? Yeah, we did that. Comment on GP percentage or OP percentage. We did that. Comment on churn and impact. We did that. Conclude the staff attrition. Either we did that or not, but the maximum points are ticked. And if the maximum points are ticked, that means, and if the maximum points are ticked, that means this boxes. That means this box is ticked, right? Then another points that they want is that you should be doing appropriate summary of report section. So we summarize the report section, right? We summarize the report section here. Then what they access that we should be focusing on more small clients, right? These are the high margins. I guess we discussed this point as well, right? We didn't discuss these points, right? We didn't discuss. I told you that junior staff was unhappy and therefore they were leaving. Although at some point we discussed the attrition, but this point was not discussed. So we can say that approx three of the points, yeah, addressed to client churn, we discussed that point. So that means these 3 points and many of the points were discussed. So executive summary of the first requirement is being done. Executive summary of the first requirement is being done. You have a no necessity that you have to follow each and every, you have a no necessity that you have to follow each and every point, but make sure that boxes gets hit. I won't be discussing these 2 requirements yet because we haven't attempted it. We'll have a separate sessions with that. But then, sir, what's AUI? What's SPS? What's SPS? And then what's AJ? What's CR? Can you tell us that for the requirement one? Yeah, I'm going to tell you that. First, you have to go through here, and then I'll tell you. And then you can see the other requirements as well. So see, these are the professional skills that have been tested in this exam, right? These are the professional skills that they test on. So A and UI. AUI, assimilating and using information. This is your first skills that they think of, that you're going to be doing. So how this skill is achieved, we'll see in the box. How this skill is achieved, we'll see in the box. But what is A in UI? AUI was the strongest skill in this exam. Most candidates comprehensive appendices. That means AUI is achieved once you have made the appendices, right? AUI is achieved once you have made the appendices efficiently using the spreadsheet functionality. If you're using the spreadsheet good way, using the numbers, using the formulas, that means your AUI is achieved, right? For R1, candidates presented clear appendices, financial and non-financial business metrics, although only few candidates included the 2023 targets in their appendices. Now that means they expected, that we're gonna be including the targets here as well. Shall we did this, guys? I don't think so that we did that, right? But they expected that we're gonna be doing that. Now, despite a specific requirement for R2, most candidates provided the required calculation of LTV. Now they are discussing the R2 We're going to be leaving that for now. Now, SPS, structuring problems and solutions. So SPS is a very good skill, very good in R1 and R2, but less in R3. Mostly the students haven't applied the skill in R3 because they don't have the time, right? Now, analysis of revenue was well done, as was of the analysis, cost of sales, related metrics, although many did not go to recalculate the KPI of staff attrition rate. So that means the Ron Ashton methods was not picked by many, but we did that. We calculated the revised metric, right? That was for the new pattern. Huh? The analysis of GPOP was well done by most candidates at R2. This is again something else. AJ proved critical differentiator, the applying judgment, right? AJ marks being lower than marks awarded for this. The vast majority of candidates incorporated comments on headcount, pricing, and churn, but fewer included deeper insights that into staff attrition and clients mix, right? The comments on the client mix, the comments on the GP mix, we made that, right? The comments on the attrition that led towards the applying judgment, and then CR is the skill that has conclusion and recommendation, that most candidates concluded the revenue, only half concluded the GP. So that means if you're not concluding the GP, then your CR box is not ticked because they expect you that you'll conclude each and everything. Therefore, I made the paras of conclusion and used them in executive summary. Now see how did the boxes get ticked. Now see that how did the boxes of these get ticked. Requirement 1, we have done that. Requirement 2 and 3, filhal, for the time being, we haven't done that. Now, this was the case scenario, right? This was exhibit 1, 2, 3. These summaries have been read in the 4 or 5 previous classes, right? We have read these summaries now. We have read these summaries, so we are not interested in this. We have read this complete case and analyzed this complete case very detailed and in a very good manner. So exam requirement and then evaluation of bowl, and then these requirements will be done, right? So analysis of case study, examination. We're not going to be having this here for the time being. We know the marks breakup in this question now, and this is similarly to the others, right? So in 29, you make sure you are scoring at least 15. In every particular requirement, you are scoring at least 15, right? If any of the requirement gets failed, I'll show you the script of failures also. They're passed in the first 2 requirement, but failed in the third, right? They're passed in the first 2 requirement and failed in the third, right? So now commentary on exam candidates' performance, right? So this is particularly for the first requirement, or this is requirement by, so we're going to be reading the requirement 1, and same thing will be done once we have attempted requirement 2 and once we have attempted requirement 3. You guys can do it own by own yourself. So for each requirement, there were 3 boxes, AUI, the first 2 for the use of number work, and third for referring the business issues and wider. Now here, you guys knew that AUI is achieved by first to use the number work and third for the business issues and wider context. Did you guys remember that I commented on COVID? I commented on UK economy. These were the business issues. These were the wider context issues. And the number 1 you are already good at, huh? You are the number 1 that already you guys are good at. Now see how this AUI is awarded. Now see that this is page 13 of 36. So see how AUI is awarded. You will have a good idea. See, in requirement 1, the AUI box is done. The 2 boxes that's been AUI, that's compares to 2023 targets. We did that. Analysis of client numbers, we did that. Analysis of staff numbers, we did that. So that means AUI is being done easily. And we need to comment on overall revenue. We did that. We need to comment on the small, medium, and every bloody product revenue, overall GP, overall this, overall this, overall this. So we did that also. So this box is particularly ticked again. And then AUI 3, that's growth in online sales. That's probably competitors. Sorry, we didn't did that. High demand for professional staff in my industry. We could have commented that. Sector averages, staff attrition 30%. I mentioned that. CAGR, I mentioned that. Targets, I mentioned that. Right. And competitors recently launched new Martech solutions. I didn't mention that, but maximum points gets hit. So all three boxes pertaining to AUI is being done. Therefore, I tell you that for every requirement, if there are 12 boxes, so three are being done very easily. Three are being done very, very easily. Did you guys got my point? Now go on back to assimilating and using information and see what else they have and see what else they have. So it's 12, it's 13 here. For requirement one, what they are saying, what they are saying, that candidate, interestingly, only a minority candidates produced appendices that incorporated 2023 targets, but we did that. And comments body of the report, most evidence their skills in presenting clear appendices that cover core items, revenue, both by overall client size, cost of sales by total category, gross profit by this, a vast now why students don't do that? Why they are saying that some didn't do that? Because they don't have an understanding of this paper, that how to attempt this paper. They don't even know that what exactly to be done in this paper, right? If you have been guided well, you can easily do this. These things are not rocket sciences, yeah. The vast majority included some analysis of KPIs and all that, right? Now, candidates generally incorporated scored well in assimilating facts from AI, growth of online sales, inflation, CAGR, revenue target. A smaller number commented on rivals launching Martech solutions. We are not in these numbers, right? We didn't do that. Although we could have done that, well-prepared candidates were able to incorporate these into their scripts, right? So this is the first requirement, that AUI, and we concluded that how AUI, we concluded how AUI be done. We concluded that, right? How AUI to be done. Now, SPS. What's SPS? Very good SPS. Structuring problems and solutions. What's SPS, right? They are much bigger than requirement 3. We are not listening to the requirement 2 or 3. We haven't attempted that. We have done the requirement 1. We're going to be seeing that. In requirement 1, the analysis of revenue in total and by client size was comprehensively done, right? Including analysis of client mix. Now, this means that using numbers for further analysis, structuring problems and solutions, that means using number for further analysis, right? For further analysis. Now, encouragingly, most, but by no means all, candidate means comments comparing revenue performance to targets as part of their narrative, in spite frequently not including the relevant appendix on their one appendix. Now, what examiner is saying here? That encouragingly, most candidates made comments comparing revenue against the 2023 targets as part of their narrative, in spite frequently not including this in R1. Now, that means examiner expects that what you'll do, you'll include the comparison with the targets in the narrative as well as in the calculations. But mostly students included it in narratives, right? Mostly students included it in narratives. Similarly, the analysis of cost of sales, staff numbers, and revised staff attrition rate was generally very well done. The discussion on GP was well done by the most candidates when to produce a suitable analysis of admin and OP. I told you this analysis was not done by anyone, many ones, right? So that means SPS is breaking down your numbers. Like if your revenue is going up, then breaking it with the client size, commenting on a client mix, that's SPS, right? Commenting on the client mix, that's SPS. Now see what are the boxes of SPS and whether we have done that or not. Huh? What are the boxes of SPS and whether we have done that or not. So SPS is first SPS is awarded by the total revenue growth. We have done that. AMFI, we have done that. Growth, major, growth, small, revenue mix calculation, churn, major, large. So that means SPS is also an easy skill and that you always hit. Huh? This is also an easy skill. And if you have followed the strategy taught by your facilitator, then you always hit this skill. Huh? Cost of sales, staff numbers, total staff attrition, revised attrition, other costs. So this is again all been done. Huh? This is again all been done. The analysis of cost of sales. We have done that. Huh? We have done that. So this has also been done. Then what's here? Major, large, small, comments on their mix, GP and OP, admin and selling, OP below target. Either we commented that? Yes, sir, we commented that. So out of 12 boxes in the first requirement, the 6 are too easy. Out of 12 boxes in the first requirement, the 6 are too easy. Okay. Now, one student asked, that's a what's applying judgment? How these are awarded? If AUI are basically awarded through, if AUI are basically awarded through calculation and SPS is awarded through deeper analysis, then what's AJ? Now, what's AJ? Huh? What's AJ? Is a critical differentiator. AJ. At requirement one, the revenue analysis, by the vast majority, candidates incorporated comments on headcount growth, how performance-based pricing had contributed by winning major clients, and discussions of churn. So that means AJ is being given on the impacts that led towards this revenue. Now see, AUI is the calculation. SPS is breaking those calculations. AJ is why this calculation is behaving like that. That's your AJ. Did you get my point? AUI is being hit once you have calculated. SPS is being hit once you have calculated in the categories. AJ is being calculated, AJ is being hit once you have discussed the possible regions of that. If you calculated the churn, that's your AUI. If you have calculated the churn by the client wise, that's your SPS. If you mentioned the reason that why this churn has been this, then it's AJ. Then it's AJ. I guess now, Wali, you are clear now. Right now, small majority went on comment on how recruiting ahead of revenue. Yeah, see how recruiting ahead of revenue had reduced AMFIH. You need to comment that. What staff attrition had an impact of that? Huh? So that means analyzing in the major comments here, right? That's AJ. That's AJ. But few extended their evaluation. So now what's there for AJ? Huh? What's there for AJ? So that's probably, I would say, this probably is here. These are the points for AJ. Huh? See. Revenue increased. AMI head down, recruiting ahead of revenue. Huh? Major high due to this. Growth small due to this. Further, this. Churn. These are the reasons. AJ1, change in cost of sales compared to change in revenue. We calculated that. Cost of sales have increased higher and the revenue has not increased that much. Appears to be only 4% of salaries increase. So they included the salary increase as well. We didn't do that. Comment on staff number changes by grade. We haven't done that, right? Junior staff, unsupported loss, non-billable time, no recruitment, counter poaching. We made that comment of counter poaching, right? Revised attrition rate, we did that. Other cost, we did that. These comments that why other costs have gone high due to infrastructure, due to hiring, all this. So this box is also achieved. And then GP, OP, charge out rate, last year's versus this year's, admin, more support staff, staff mix shifting. We made some of the comments from here, also gets hit. So These three AUI are easy, and conclusion and recommendation are always easy because you always do that. Conclusion and recommendation are always easy because you always conclude your answers. You always conclude your answers. Without conclusion and recommendation, see, two of the boxes gets unmarked. And if two of the boxes gets unmarked, how you gonna be passing this exam if any of the boxes left? Make sure you're hitting each and every box. Make sure you are hitting each and every box. Okay. So see, here we understood AUI, we understood SPS, we understood AJ, and we know CR. And the marks is simple. AUI is 7, SPS is 8.5. I won't be recommending you focus that much here. Just focus on the strategy of drafting taught by you. Just focus on the strategy of drafting that has been told by your tutor. See, there's a comment. I would say GP increased this, but unfortunately, because the increase in cost this year, this is one of the answer they have incorporated of the student, right? This is one of the answer. You can read that. This is as per the strategy that have been taught you in the classes. Now, the conclusions and recommendations, what's here? Interestingly, balance of marks in CR section was unexpectedly skewed away, although this seems to be a consequence of poorer conclusion section than normal rather than enhanced recommendation section. While most candidates concluding on revenue, around half concluded on GP. Now that's very bad. Linking the dilution effect of client mix, you should have linking that why your GP is impacted, right? Around a quarter of candidates concluded on staff attrition, most discerning candidates concluding on client churn, and most made recommendations regarding winning and retaining clients, addressing staff attrition, with only more insightful candidates commenting on how junior staff attrition is highest, right? So they want you to comment on the junior staff because they were leaving. They were leaving your company. They want you guys comment on the junior staff, right? In CR. And many students did this, right? Many students did this. If you read this answer, that overall GP increased. This is analysis of GP. Huh? This is analysis of GP client wise. You have to do revenue, GP, and all that. So this is a well structured answer, right? Despite the increased charge out rates, it appears that large clients have insisted the increase with staff heavily discounting these rates. This would result in margins not increase as expected in the discount billable rates. FDM should negotiate with the clients for higher billable rates. They have given the recommendation here. I don't prefer this strategy. The strategy has been told you in the client that overall comments and the reasons, then client wise comments that what happens with major GP, where the reason is there, you mentioned the reason, what happens with large, what happens with medium, what happens with small, and the mix comment, and this has been the strategy that you guys have been following on for the two papers. This has been the strategy that you guys have been followed on from the two papers that you have, right? So what I believe from the today's session, you must have got idea that how you're gonna be, you must have got idea that how you're gonna be dealing with this exam. And moreover, I believe that you guys would be attempting the papers through the strategy that have been taught you by myself, and then you should have a clear understanding of the boxes, of the impacts, and of these things. So we will be doing all these things again once we have attempted the requirement 2. We'll see this, and you can see this. So once we have attempted the requirement 3, then also we can deal with this. And once your attempts case study is released, so see, your strategy would be developed since you will have attempted many papers. So what you have to do, then you have to focus on the case study that pertains to your attempt, whichever attempt you guys are giving the paper. You have to focus on that, and then what you will be doing, and then you will be focusing whichever case study is being released for you, focusing on the strategy applying on that case because it has been developed from the previous cases that we have, right? So if there are any questions, anything, you guys can contact me on my WhatsApp. I'm writing my WhatsApp number here. That's just, I'll write it here. It's +923312623849, right? This is my WhatsApp number. You can contact me whenever you guys want, and then we'll surely let you know, and we'll try to fix any problem that you have regarding this paper so that you all can pass this paper. This is all from my side. Thank you.